Hi everyone, welcome back to the Vectra podcast. Today we have Gearoid from the product management team. We're going to be talking about a new feature on the Vectra AI platform called dynamic groups. So, kicking us off. Oh, Garrett, do you want to say hi first before I
Hi
begin?
everyone, I'm Gearoid for the product team.
Yeah, his face is very familiar if you've been watching our podcast. So he's back here again. Just a reminder, or sort of like a overview of what Vectra does with the attack signal problem. We do coverage, clarity, and control. I don't want to sound too salesy here, but what really important here is that we narrow things down to single digit prioritized entities from thousands of hosts and accounts, monitored both human and machine in real time across a bunch of attack surfaces, network, identity, cloud, SaaS, Gen AI with our new Copilot product, and an endpoint. We narrowed that very large number down to thousands of observed events and then a single list of prioritized entities. And that means it just takes minutes to respond, minutes to investigate, minutes to clear all those detections or alerts. So just to keep that in mind, because this cues us up for what dynamic groups is, and I'm going to pass this to Gerald to just kind of illustrate what the problem was before we came up with this feature.
Yeah, of course. So, exactly what you just said, Zoe. We're all about quality of signal, giving you as few alerts as possible so that, you're not swamped by more, more, and more. It's all about quality, it's all about clarity. One of the
Mhm.
key axes or one of the key like tools you have to like keep that quality high is being able to really easily manage what a signal is expected in your
Mhm.
organization. And one of the key aspects of that is groups. Groups are a core vector feature, which effectively lets you define, hey, any guy or any host or any account that's in a group, in this specific group, let's triage it out. If you
Mm.
consider, for example, like if Dropbox is in use in your organization, in
Mhm.
many cases that could be a problem. That could be a sign of exfiltration. That could be a sign of breach of
Right.
standards. But it might be that a certain part of your organization has asked for an exception. And
Mhm.
maybe they have to use Dropbox because they're collaborating with another third party or any whatever reason. But you still want to get alerts in your organization for Dropbox usage, but you want to carve out an exemption for these guys. So what you can do is you can define a group saying any host in this space, any of their hosts which are talking to Dropbox, we're just going to triage it out. And that's basically what groups and triage work really well at. They basically help you reduce the amount of alerts that you're getting to make sure that you're getting the best alerts possible. The
And in an
second
organ,
factor, oh, go ahead.
oh, I was
No,
just
go
gonna
ahead.
ask, in an organization, like the number of groups that you have to manage can end up being a lot, right?
Yeah, of course, exactly.
Okay.
You can have thousands of groups because of all the various different organizational parts you have. And that's
Mhm.
good because in theory, you just create that group, um, and then you can just like leverage that going forward. One of the problems we've seen though is that a lot of time is spent by people managing groups. We find 78% of the time users are spending in our application around the groups product is around just adding and removing members who
Mhm.
are meant to be or not meant to be part of a group.
Gotcha.
And that just means we think they're hard to maintain.
Yeah, I can see. Sorry, I cut you off. Going back
No,
to
it's
your
cool. I was
point.
just going to say as well that groups are also really handy in the Respond UX as a way of
Hmm.
telling Vectra, hey, these groups are high importance and these groups are low
Right.
importance. Like high importance groups are the CEO, the main controller,
Hmm.
I don't know, things like that. Whatever the servers that are involved in our lunch management, because that's critical. Whereas low important entities might be things on the guest Wi-Fi, you don't really care too much if anything happens here. So you
Hmm.
can tell us, hey, I care about these guys, I don't care about those guys. And we actually feed that into our prioritization engine so that if anything high importance has anything happen, we're much more quick and much more likely to alert you to it. It just means that
And
you have better
uh,
control
yeah,
over the signal you get.
and there's high, medium, and low in terms of importance, right? The tiers
Exactly.
to that.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then the
Okay.
third thing I was going to say is just it's nice to have a label. If you go in, you might look at a random host name, and even though vector host ID is pretty powerful, if the naming convention in your organization is to use, loads of TLAs, three-letter acronyms, for things, then
Mhm.
sometimes just having it explained, you can use a group. We just label everything with key context. Super handy.
Absolutely. But the gist of this here is that it's hard to maintain because it's just so big and there's just so much behind it, right?
Exactly that. It's just unfortunately the way we have it defined is statically. It's yeah, just there's an overhead, and we want to make it easier.
Yeah. And how are we making it easier, Garrett?
Great question. We're letting people define them dynamically. Exactly what I suppose the header, we've been talking about this for a while now. I suppose we're
Yeah.
teasing this for a bit in this call so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, so dynamic groups, effectively letting you say, hey, here's a regular expression. If you have any host that matches this regular expression, add to the group. So even if a new host appears tomorrow, like if you create a new virtual machine, if it matches the naming
Mhm.
convention, added to the group automatically. Triage rules applied automatically. Labels, importance, everything just comes in automatically straight off the box. If you're not fully comfortable with regex, you can just use it as a wildcard feature. You can just say, I know, for example, some organizations will give their IT admins an ADM dash account, which is like their privileged account. So you can just go ADM dash star, and then all of your
Mm.
admins will automatically be added to the admin dynamic group. And it means that if you have a new IT admin who joins, say, this week, you don't have to add them to the group. It's automatically done. As long as you've got a naming convention,
Mhm.
it all just happens automatically. We've made this flow as
Mhm.
easy as possible to use. So you just come
Mhm.
in, define a dynamic group, put in a regular expression, and there's a reference, and you've got all the help you need. You can preview it, make sure it kind of aligns with what you're expecting. You create the
Right.
group, and in around 20 to 30 seconds, for most cases, it's just there. It's done. It's built. Super simple.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. And then there's the regex quick reference too that links out to help anyone who's,
Exactly.
has questions
Regex
about
is, I think, everyone is like, oh yeah, I use regex sometimes. And the idea of writing a regex, I've never gotten regex right the first time. It's really complex. So we always have like, I
that.
have a reference, I have a printout beside me, honestly, because I use it fairly often. But most people, yeah, you just having a nice little sandbox, you can just check things, and it's super handy
Yeah,
stuff we have there.
amazing. Um, okay. And then this is what you meant by the group being automatically populated here.
Exactly, yeah. So once you define your rule, that's it. It's just built. There's nothing else that has to be
Mhm.
built out. It just works. It's one of
Yeah.
those features that is just really straightforward. It just works. It's kind of like I don't
Mhm.
know the iPhone technology. Sometimes you're like, oh, is that it? And the answer is yes, that is it. You build this rule,
Mhm.
it automatically updates. It goes in anytime we spot a new host or a new account. We check the rules. We make
Mhm.
sure it's all up to date, and then you can leverage
Mhm.
it in triage filters, and it'll just work seamlessly.
Yeah. And it's also really clearly stated in the UI here. So the regex rules right here, and then the importance right here. And you can also edit it as well with the icons too. So very straightforward. Love it.
Exactly, absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. So this is exactly it. The overview is just as we say right here. We support both hosts and accounts, so that you can specify basically any entity that we have in Vectra. Um, we say every host and account will be added automatically within an hour, but in our testing, we're beating that so much, we're basically adding everything within 30 seconds. So
Yeah.
that's pretty exciting. It's the one of those examples where we've just completely, basically, it's just perfectly designed. But yeah, huge positive impact. Um, and we're excited to build on this feature as well. Our vision is to make it easier. We know obviously some customers are using say AD groups, and their naming convention isn't that strong because of various different
Mhm.
organizational rules. So we do have a plan to expand the set to support AD groups as well. But we're pretty confident that our regular expression-based rule sets will be really effective. Um, this is
Mhm.
live in the Respond UX this month, and which is November
Mhm.
2024.
Mhm.
And it's coming out in the Quadrant UX in 8.11. So we're pretty excited.
Ooh, yeah, it's gonna be supported in both UIs there. That's gonna be super exciting. And like at the end of the day, the goal here is to improve the quality of signal, to make sure that we're delivering, the best and clearest, least noisiest there is. So yeah. Any last thoughts before we wrap this up here?
No, all I'll say, I suppose, is with this feature, you'll come in, you'll make your dynamic groups, you'll have them managed, and you will probably never visit that page again. It'll just work perfectly.
Which is what we want.
So exactly. One of our goals here is that you'll never have to think about group management again.
Yes, awesome. All right, well, thanks, Gerald, for walking us through this new awesome feature. If you guys haven't checked us out on YouTube yet, we have an entire playlist of conversations like this with a bunch of very smart folks from Vectra. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks, Gerald, for your time, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks very much, Zoe.
All right, bye.